Today we'll be discussing the static variables and instance variables of a class. The instance variables in a class are the ones which are declared as the normal data members of the class. As we create an object of the class, the copies of instance variables are created again and again, whereas the static variables are the ones which are created only once for the class and can be used by all the objects. So memory is allocated once and it is shared by all objects of the class. While we define a class, for example, we are making a class named student where we have the data members as roll number, name and marks. Those data members would be instance variables since they will be created again and again as I create an object of class student. So I take them as private members of the class. So in private I have taken the roll number and marks as integer elements, and then I have taken a string for storing the name of the student. Now we have roll number, marks, and then we have taken name. Now I want a variable to be there which should be for the minimum passing marks of students. Every student can have different marks, but every student will not have different minimum passing marks. So for number of students I will have the same minimum passing marks, and that passing marks I will take as static so that it should be shared by all the objects of the class. So when you declare it, we write static in front of the declaration. Name can be given anything. Let's say I give passing marks. So this is the variable which I have declared. Other than that, you need scanner for inputting the values. For scanner, what we need to do is we need to import the package named util so that you can use the scanner class in your program. And let me make this a comment so that we can execute the program later. Now what I need to do is the scanner object is also the one which should be declared only once and should be used by all the objects of the class. So it's always better to take your scanner object as a static object in the class. So I create the scanner over here, and now I'll make the usual functions to do the normal operations on the class. Like we need a function to input the values. So I define a function input where I ask the user to enter the values for roll number, name and marks. So I ask the user enter name, roll number and marks of the student, and you can get them with the help of the respective functions. Like name we can enter with the help of next line, then we have to enter the roll number that we take with the help of next int, then we take marks. So marks is also an integer value, so we use next int for that as well. Similarly, I need function for the result, so I define a function result over here where I have to show whether the student is pass or fail. So we just check if marks of the student is greater than equal to the minimum passing mark, which is a static variable. I should show that the student is pass. So we write here the name of the student joined by is pass. Else, if the condition is false, we have to show that the student is fail. So we have to write system.out.println name is fail. So that's how I've made this. Now I need to define a function where I have to read the value of the minimum passing marks. That minimum passing marks we need to input from the user. So I can give it a name, say input passing, or you can give whatever you want. So I name it like this, and over here I have to ask the user system.out.println enter minimum passing marks. So that's an integer value, so we need to get that with the help of next int function. That's it. That's how I make my class. So the class is done, but the thing is, this input pass function needs to be called with an object, because we have a rule that every class must have an object to call its member functions. But I need this input pass to be called with name of the class. So if you need a function which should not depend on an object to be called, you should define that function as a static function. Now I don't need an object to call this function. I can call this using name of the class. Now let's say we are making another class named test2. Now inside this I'll be defining main. So main is the startup function from the execution of your program would start. So we take main, and over here I want to create, let's say, an array of 5 students. So I'll be having student five, and I want to input the details of all these 5 students. So take an integer variable, take a loop for the same, I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, and inside this first we need to allocate the memory for the object. So AI is equal to new student, then we write AI dot input, and I close the loop. So this will input the details for A0 first, then for A1, then for A2, and so on till A4. Then I call the function input pass to input the minimum passing marks, and to call this function I need to call it with name of the class. I don't need any object to call this, so I can call student dot input pass, and what I need to do afterwards is I have to show the result of all 5 students. So I take the loop again and I write AI dot result, which will show the result of all 5 students. Now I have to save this file with the name where I have the main class. So the main function is in tests2, so I save the file with the name tests2.java. So it's saved. Now I need to open command prompt to run this. I have saved my file in JEV folder. So now we give Java C. Name of the file was tests2, so tests2.java, and now you can execute it, Java test2. So it will ask for the name, roll number. So name, say I give Ankita, roll number 90, marks 78, then I give the name